Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. Dana walked in at 9:47 p.m., heels in one hand, phone in the other, eyes already somewhere else. Hey, I greeted her from the kitchen. I'd kept dinner warm. Nothing fancy, just normal. Hey, she answered without looking up. She moved past me like I was a coat rack. Phone screen face down the second she hit the counter. That little move, like it was muscle memory. You eat? I asked. Grab something, she said. Long day. I waited for the part where she asked about mine. That part used to be automatic. Even on rough days, she'd still toss me a, how'd it go? Are you okay? Something human. Instead, she slid onto a stool, thumb already scrolling. I leaned my hip against the counter. You've been coming in late a lot. Her eyes didn't lift. It's work, Alex. Don't start. Start what? She finally looked up, and it wasn't anger. It was worse. It was that tired, clipped tone like I was a task she didn't want on her calendar. I'm exhausted. I don't have energy for a whole conversation. A whole conversation, I repeated. About my wife coming home like she's renting a room here. Her jaw tightened. She flipped her phone face down harder than necessary. Seriously? You're doing this right now? I watched her hands. The way she hovered over the phone like a guard. The way her shoulders went stiff when I stepped closer. And when I reached to set my palm on the counter near hers, she slid the phone a few inches away, like I might catch a disease off it. That's when the thought hit me, clean and cold. She's next to me, but she's not with me. And if I'd known where that was headed, I would have stopped playing patient husband a lot sooner. Fine, I said calm. Go shower. I'll put the food away. Thank you, she replied, and it sounded like she was thanking a coworker for forwarding an email. She walked upstairs and I stood there in our kitchen, our house, our 9-year marriage, feeling something inside me go quiet. Not sad, not angry, quiet like a switch flipping. When someone starts treating you like background noise, you don't beg them to turn the volume up. You decide whether you're staying in the room. The next morning, I didn't bring it up. I didn't do the thing where you try to talk it out while the other person stares at a wall and waits for you to finish being inconvenient. I watched. I listened. I adjusted. Dana came down in a blazer and that polished face she used for the outside world. She poured coffee, checked her phone, and smiled at something that wasn't me. Big day? I asked. Back to back, she said. Victor and I have a strategy call at lunch. There it was again. Victor Collins. She'd mentioned him for months like he was a harmless piece of furniture. Business consultant. Partner on a project. Always confident. Always in demand. Always saying the right things. The kind of guy who could sell ambition like it was oxygen. Victor, I repeated, keeping my tone neutral. Dana's eyes flicked up. What? Nothing. Just Victor. She gave a short laugh. You're weird lately. I'm not weird. I'm awake. She rolled her eyes and took a sip. Don't do that. Do what? Act like I'm doing something wrong because I have a job. I nodded slowly. You can have a job and still remember you're married. Her phone buzzed. She didn't even pretend not to care. She grabbed it instantly. What's the rush? I asked. It's work, she snapped, already tapping. I picked up my keys. I'll be out late tonight. That got her attention. Out late? For what? Work, I said, matching her tone perfectly. She stared like she didn't like the taste of her own medicine. Since when do you work late? Since I realized I've been the only one protecting our evenings. Dana opened her mouth, then closed it, like she was recalculating. I'm not fighting with you, she said. I love you. I'm just under pressure. There it was, soft voice. Gentle eyes, the first little pivot. A small sprinkle of warmth when she felt control slipping. I didn't melt. I just nodded. Okay, I replied. Have a good day. At the office, my buddy Mark caught me by the coffee machine. Mark's a blunt guy. He's not poetic. He's not sensitive. He's the friend who tells you your fly's down and doesn't apologize. You look like you slept in a chair, he said. I slept fine. Mark squinted. That means you didn't sleep fine. I shrugged. Home's been quiet. Quiet like peaceful or quiet like someone's hiding a second life. I stared at him. He raised a hand. Hey, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm just saying, when a woman starts treating you like a roommate, it's usually not because she found meditation. Appreciate the optimism, I muttered. Mark leaned closer. You want advice? Don't argue with mystery. Investigate it. That line stuck. On my lunch break, instead of scrolling headlines like a zombie, I pulled up our joint account on my phone. I didn't go hunting for pain. I went looking for patterns. A few things popped out. Rideshare charges in parts of the city she didn't go to. Dinners on nights she said she grabbed something quick. A boutique hotel name I didn't recognize, but it was weeks back. Not huge money, just enough to feel deliberate. That night, I didn't ask where she'd been. I didn't ask who Victor was. I did something better. I changed the rules. I moved my direct deposit into my personal account. Kept the joint account funded for bills, because I'm not 12. But the automatic access? Done. I also texted her, simple and clean, I'll handle my schedule this week. Don't wait up. When I got home, Dana was on the couch, phone in hand, screen down when I walked in. You're late, she said. I told you. She sat up. Are you punishing me? I smiled a little. You're not being punished. You're just not being catered to. That's not fair. Fair. I repeated. We haven't been living on fair for a while. Dana's eyes narrowed. What is this about, Alex? It's about respect. She scoffed. Oh my God. I stepped closer, not looming, just present. You want to live like you're single, you can do that. But you're not going to do it while I pay for the quiet part. Her mouth tightened. Then she softened again, second pivot, smoother. Okay, she said quietly. Maybe I've been distant. I'm sorry. This project is a lot. She reached for my hand. A rare touch, carefully timed, like a receipt you produce when someone asks for proof. I let her fingers rest on mine for 2 seconds, then I pulled back. Shower's free, I said. I'm turning in early. Behind me, I heard her exhale sharp. The warmth dropped off the table the second it didn't buy her anything. And as I went upstairs, one thought stayed steady. She wasn't trying to fix us. She was trying to manage me. 3 days later, I found the hotel receipt by accident. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. Not in her purse. Not in her phone. In an old planner she kept in the hall drawer. One of those goal-setting notebooks she used for exactly 2 weeks before life got busy. I was looking for a spare key. The planner slid out, pages fanning. A folded slip of paper fell like it had been waiting. Hotel. Chicago. 2 nights. A date that matched one of her conference weekends. I didn't feel my heart break. I didn't get dizzy. I didn't slam anything. I just stared at the receipt and felt that same quiet from the kitchen deepen into something sharper. Cold clarity. That night at dinner, I watched her like I'd never watched her before. Not with suspicion, with measurement. She talked about work in safe little chunks. She laughed at a message while she chewed. She kept her phone angled away. She never asked about my day. So how's Victor? I asked casual. Dana's fork paused. Fine. Busy. Always. He's good at what he does. Sounds like you admire him, I said. She blinked. You're fishing. I'm eating, I replied. You're the one choking. Her face cooled. Can you not do this? Do what? Ask a basic question about the man you say your life revolves around right now. It's temporary, she said, annoyed. You're making it weird. I nodded slowly. Everything's weird when it's not honest. Dana stood up and started clearing plates like she needed an exit. I'm going to take a shower. Take your time, I said. She stopped and turned. Are you mad at me? I met her eyes. No. That seemed to confuse her more than anger would have. She liked me emotional. Emotional meant steerable. She studied me like she was trying to find the old buttons and realized the panel had been replaced. Upstairs, the shower turned on. I didn't run to her phone. I didn't need to. I already had enough. But fate has a sense of timing. Dana's phone was on the bathroom counter, face up. Not locked. Probably because she'd been in a hurry. Probably because she felt safe. In her mind, I was still the guy who didn't start. The screen lit. A message preview. Victor. Same place as last time. Miss you already. That was it. No poetry. No confusion. Just logistics and familiarity. I stared at those words until they stopped looking like letters and started looking like a decision. I took a photo of the screen with my phone. Then another. Then I opened her messages long enough to capture the thread header and a couple of recent lines. Nothing graphic. Just enough to show a pattern, dates, and tone. Then I put the phone back exactly where it was. Dana came out with a towel around her hair, smiling like she'd reset. Hey, she said sweet. You want to watch something together? Just us. Second illusion of change, but this one was heavier, almost urgent. She'd felt the shift. I leaned back on the bed. Not tonight. Her smile twitched. Why not? Because I'm tired, I said. And because I don't like scheduled intimacy. Feels like a dentist appointment. She laughed, too loud. You're impossible. No, I corrected. I'm just not desperate. Dana climbed into bed and touched my shoulder. Alex, don't be like this. I need you. I looked at her hand. You need stability. There's a difference. Her hand pulled back like it got burned. She turned away, and I heard her phone buzz again on the counter. I didn't move. I didn't check. I already had what I needed. And the next move wasn't emotional. It was logistical. The next day, I met Sophie Collins in a quiet coffee shop on the north side. I didn't know her. I wasn't hunting romance. I wasn't building some fantasy. I was building a wall that truth could stand behind. Sophie walked in exactly on time. Early 40s. Calm eyes. Not dressed to impress. Dressed like a woman who'd been carrying something heavy and finally decided to set it down. She scanned the room, spotted me, and walked over. Alex Harper? She asked. I stood. Sophie Collins. We shook hands. Firm. Businesslike. She sat and opened her bag. You said you had something concrete. I do, I replied. And I'm not here to trade stories. I'm here to align facts. Sophie's mouth tightened in a humorless half-smile. Good. Because I'm past stories. I slid my phone across the table and showed her the photos. The hotel receipt. The message preview. The dates I'd marked. Sophie didn't gasp. She didn't clutch her chest. She just watched, jaw set, like each piece confirmed what she already suspected. Victor's been traveling a lot, she said. Always with a reason. Always important. Always urgent. Same script on my side, I replied. Late calls. Conferences. Weekends. Sophie pulled out her own phone. Here. She scrolled and turned it toward me. A few screenshots. Nothing dirty. Just familiarity. Inside jokes. Phrases that didn't belong to coworkers. A calendar sync invite labeled strategy session that landed at 9:30 p.m. on a Friday. He has a second phone, she said flatly. I found the charger in his car. He said it was for work. Funny how work always needs secrecy. I nodded. Dana flips her screen down like she's playing cards. Sophie let out a slow breath. So what are we doing? We're not doing chaos, I said. We're not doing a kitchen confrontation where they cry and turn it into you're controlling. Sophie's eyes sharpened. Agreed. We do it in public, I continued. Somewhere they can't scream and rewrite history. Somewhere there are witnesses. Somewhere the facts sit on the table and the acting doesn't work. Sophie tapped her fingers once. Chicago. That's where Dana likes to feel important, I said. A nice restaurant. A scene she'd normally control. Sophie nodded. Victor will be out of town this weekend. Conference. I gave a short laugh. Of course he will. Sophie reached into her bag and pulled out a thin folder. I've been collecting. Travel dates. Charges. Messages. Not to punish anyone. To protect reality. I looked at the folder. Same goal here. Sophie met my eyes. One thing. Yeah. When this happens, they'll try to make us look like the problem. I know, I replied. That's why I wanted you here. 2 sets of facts. One story they can't bend. Sophie sat back. Okay. When? Friday, I said. I'll text Dana like it's a normal dinner. No drama. She'll show up thinking she's in control. Sophie's voice went calm and hard. And then she'll find out she's not. I nodded once. Exactly. When we stood to leave, Sophie paused. I'm sorry, she said. I shrugged. Save sorry for people who didn't pay attention. We did. Now we act. As I walked out, my phone buzzed. Dana, miss you. Can we reset tonight? I'll make your favorite. The timing was almost funny. Almost. I replied, Friday. Dinner in Chicago. Just us. She instantly sent a heart. And that's when I knew she thought she was winning. Friday night. The restaurant was the kind of place Dana liked. Dim lights, quiet confidence, the kind of menu that made people feel important for ordering chicken. Sophie was already seated when I arrived. Calm. Composed. Folder in her bag like it weighed nothing. I slid into the chair across from her. You good? I'm clear, she replied. A waiter came over. Good evening. I ordered water. Sophie did the same. No alcohol. No fog. We were here to be exact. We didn't have to wait long. Dana stormed in like a weather event. She spotted me, then Sophie, and her face tightened into something sharp and offended. She marched over fast enough that heads turned. "What is this?" she demanded. Loud. Not yelling, but intentionally public. "You've been ignoring my calls and now I find you sitting with her?" I stayed seated. Calm hands on the table. "Hi, Dana." "Don't hi me," she snapped. "Who is she?" I looked at Sophie, then back to Dana. "This is Sophie." Dana's eyes scanned Sophie, like she was trying to place her. "Okay, and?" I leaned back slightly. "You know her?" Dana scoffed. "I don't know her." Sophie's voice was steady, almost gentle. "You know my husband." Dana's expression flickered. Confusion, then irritation, then a flash of calculation. "What is this?" Dana laughed, sharp and fake. "Some weird setup?" I held her gaze. "Sophie Collins. Victor Collins' wife." The word wife landed like a dropped glass. Dana's smile froze. Then she pushed it harder, like forcing it would make it true. "This is ridiculous," she said. "Victor is a colleague." Sophie reached into her bag and set the thin folder on the table, not slamming it, just placing it like a final form. "Colleagues don't book 2-night stays under their own names," Sophie said. "Colleagues don't send same place as last time." Dana's eyes darted to the folder and back to me. "Alex, are you serious right now?" "Yes," I replied. "I'm serious. That's why we're not having this conversation at home." Dana's voice rose a notch. "So you're humiliating me in public?" I raised an eyebrow. "You walked in loud. Don't blame the room for your volume." She leaned toward me. "You disappeared. You've been cold. You're acting like a man who noticed." I cut in. "Finish the sentence." Dana's lips pressed tight. "This is insane. You too. What? Decided to team up and ruin people's lives?" Sophie didn't flinch. "We decided to stop being managed." Dana looked at Sophie with sudden venom. "You don't know anything about my marriage." Sophie tilted her head slightly. "I know dates. I know charges. I know your conference weekends line up with Victor's travel. I know you're not meeting him in a conference hall." Dana turned to me fast. "Alex, come on. Let's go home. We can talk." "Not here." Sophie replied before I did, quiet and clean. "There's no more space for lying." Dana's eyes flashed. "You're enjoying this." Sophie's mouth barely moved. "No, I'm surviving it." Dana's attention snapped back to me. "Alex, you're really going to do this? After 9 years? You're throwing us away because of texts?" I nodded once. "Not texts. Patterns. Choices. And the part where you thought I'd sit quietly while you built a second life next to mine." Her face twitched. "Second life? Don't be dramatic." I kept my voice even. "I'm not dramatic. I'm precise." Dana lowered her voice, trying a different angle. Soft. Almost pleading. "Okay, maybe I've been selfish. Maybe I got caught up. But we can fix this. I'll quit the project. I'll cut him off. Just don't do it like this." I watched her carefully. The panic wasn't about losing me. It was about losing control of the narrative. Sophie opened the folder and slid a few pages forward. Receipts, dates, screenshots of message headers. Clean formatting. No theatrics. Dana's color shifted. She swallowed. "This is invasive," she whispered. "Invasive is living with someone and treating them like an obstacle," I replied. "This is documentation." Dana looked around and realized people weren't staring anymore. They'd gone back to their meals. The world wasn't ending. No one was rescuing her. She straightened up, trying to reclaim ground. "So what now? You want an apology? You want me to beg?" I gave a short laugh. "I don't want anything from you. That's the point." Her eyes widened slightly. "What does that mean?" It was time. The irreversible part. "I already spoke to counsel," I said calm. "The paperwork is drafted. We're going to handle it clean, but it's already in motion." Dana's face went blank for half a second, like the floor moved. "You did what?" she whispered. "I didn't come here to negotiate," I continued. "I came here to lock reality in place. Because you were going to tell everyone I was distant. You were going to say you tried. You were going to walk out of this looking like the hero of your own story." Dana's voice tightened. "Alex, you're making a huge mistake." "No," I replied. "You made a huge mistake. I'm making a decision." Sophie closed the folder softly. "You can call it whatever you need," she told Dana. "But you can't call it their fault anymore." Dana's eyes flashed again. So you two planned this? I nodded. We planned clarity. Dana leaned in, voice low and sharp. You think you're some kind of tough guy now? I smiled, small and tired. I've been tough the whole time. I was just wasting it on someone who didn't respect it. She stared at me like she didn't recognize the man sitting there. Because she didn't. The old Alex would have argued. He would have tried to save. He would have begged for honesty. This Alex just stood up. I pulled a small envelope from my jacket and placed it beside the folder. House keys. Garage opener. A simple note. I'm staying elsewhere. Communicate by email only. Dana's breath hitched. What is that? Consequences, I said. I'm not sharing a roof with someone who treats me like a placeholder. Her voice rose again, desperate now. You can't just. I can, I replied. And I am. Sophie stood too. I'm done here. Dana's eyes jumped between us. She tried one last move, voice soft, eyes wet, the performance of tenderness. Alex, please. Not like this. I looked at her for a long second. Not with hate. With finality. You should have found your respect before you needed my mercy, I said. And you don't. Then I turned and walked out with Sophie, leaving Dana at that table with nothing but her own choices sitting across from her. I didn't go back to the house that night. I'd already packed my essentials earlier in the week, quietly, without drama. I'd lined up a furnished place through a colleague who rented units downtown. I'd changed passwords. I'd separated finances. I'd set communication boundaries. Not because I wanted to hurt Dana, because I refused to be cornered by someone else's story. Dana called 10 times. Then she texted. You set me up. This is humiliating. You're being cruel. I didn't reply. The next morning, she emailed, suddenly calm, suddenly reasonable. Can we meet privately and talk like adults? I replied once. Adults don't hide a second life and then request privacy when the truth shows up. After that, I kept it clean. All business. No late-night phone calls. No emotional wrestling. No closure talks that just turn into negotiation. Mark met me for lunch a few days later. You look lighter, he said. Because I'm not carrying someone who's actively trying to replace me, I replied. He sipped his coffee. How's she taking it? I shrugged. She's taking it like someone who lost control of the script. Sophie and I kept contact minimal. We weren't bonded by romance. We were bonded by accuracy, and once accuracy was established, we both went back to our own lives. A month later, I heard through a mutual friend that Dana's project with Victor had suddenly collapsed. Funny how those polished men love risk until the risk has names and receipts. Dana tried to float her version around, little hints about me being emotionally unavailable. It didn't land the way she expected. People had seen her storm into that restaurant. People had seen her face when Sophie said, "You know my husband." Reality has a way of sticking when it's witnessed. By spring, I'd moved into a condo closer to my work. I bought a new truck, nothing flashy, just solid, mine, paid for without anyone's thumb on the budget. Weekends became mine again. I reconnected with friends I'd been too busy to see while I was trying to hold a marriage together alone. And I met someone new through a charity event Mark dragged me to. Rachel. Straightforward. Warm. No games. The first time she asked how my day was, she actually listened to the answer. Simple things feel expensive after you've lived without them. Last I heard, Dana was still in the old house for a while, then downsized fast. Her circle shrank. Her busy social calendar got quiet. Turns out, when your status depends on a story, losing the story is expensive. People ask me sometimes if it hurt. Of course it did. I'm not made of steel. But here's what hurt more. Staying in a home where my presence was tolerated, not valued. So I left. Not with shouting. Not with begging. With a sentence she couldn't spin. You should have found your respect before you needed my mercy. And the best part? I meant it. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.